racists and the white supremacists and the white nationalists, the white Christian nationalists, they are emboldened by the win of Donald Trump, and they're no longer using coded language to talk about their hate, their bigotry, their yearning desire to oppress communities that are traditionally have been marginalized in the United States, up to and including brutality and murder and rape, enslavement. Today I'm going to talk about Dave Reilly, a fellow Idahoan apparently, lives up in the Post Falls area. If you know Idaho or northern Idaho, it's near Coeur d'Alene. You've probably heard of Coeur d'Alene, saw the word and didn't know how to pronounce it. That's how to pronounce it, Coeur d'Alene. My late father was from Post Falls. Dave Reilly ran for school board there. He is a virulent, racist pile of garbage. And he now has, I guess, a podcast or a little YouTube show called The Backlash, where it's co-hosted by four ghouls, four racists. The other person I'm going to talk about today is Cameron Macgregor, who is also one of these co-hosts. First, let me read to you the description, the self-described nature of their show, The Backlash. And then I have two clips for you to demonstrate just how mask off these assholes are now. Just how they're not pulling any punches anymore. There's no coded language. It's no more dog whistles. It's straight up saying that the Bible encouraged racism. Not only was it not prohibited by the Bible, it's encouraged racism in the Bible. And then we're going to go on to Cameron Macgregor, who talks about what the two things that we need to blend together to move forward the project of conservatism, I guess. You'll not be shocked by what those two things are. But first, here's the description of The Backlash. Welcome to The Backlash, the premier American right-wing talk show that dives deep into the heart of contemporary issues reshaping our world. Led by four passionate hosts, The Backlash goes beyond the headlines to explore the political, cultural, and economic shifts defining our era. From discussions of Western awakening, yeah, that's code for white people being woke, I guess, the Western awakening. There's also been different periods in Christianity that they've called the awakening. On Western awakening and the breakdown of legacy political structures to the resurgence of traditional values. See, all these are coded words, coded language used to describe racism and white supremacy, active neo-Nazi shit. The resurgence of traditional values and the complexities of economic instability. Our show provides an unfiltered perspective on topics that matter most, they say, about themselves. So here's a clip of Dave Reilly really getting to it as they dive deep to tell you about the Western awakening and other such nonsense. Watch this.
And is seeing the problems in the churches, the invasion that's happening in the pews, the lack of birth rates, the changing of the mass, bringing in, homosexuals to wave pride flags around during mass. And they're upset about it. They're getting together. They're mobilizing. And I really think that the way forward is a kind of model of this Christian nationalism, whether it's Protestant, Reformed, Catholic, whatever, but this idea that the nation has to answer to God for the natural law.
Yes.
That is definitely the way forward as far as political ideology goes. And I think the best way to accomplish that is by mobilizing churches, by mobilizing your local faith community, by telling your pastor, hey, are you aware of these issues that are going on right now? Will you preach about pornography? Will you preach about the false idol of Israel and Zionism? Will you preach about the modern false idol of racism? I mean, not once in the Bible is racism ever mentioned as a sin. In fact, it's encouraged in the Old Testament.
Can you imagine blaspheming your God, your claimed deity, like that? He claims to be a Christian, yet adheres to all the reverence to the Old Testament, which, according to Christian, or at least the faith I grew up in, which is very close to his faith, Jesus came to fulfill the law, to complete the project set forth by Yahweh, by Jehovah. But he would have you believe that the best way to spread Christian nationalism, his particular flavor of Christianity and politics, is by mobilizing churches. He says the way forward is that the nation has to answer to God. Who's God? Which version? Which interpretation of the Bible, Dave? Which one? Yours? Your particular one that's one of thousands? That's the way forward? That's the only way? Cameron Macgregor here picks it up, and really, he goes hard, talking about the right is two things. It's Christian nationalism and white nationalism. This is why I've gotten a lot of criticism for this over the years when I don't separate the two, Christian nationalism and white Christian nationalism. This is why. It's because their goal, these pernicious bad actors, is to combine them. To them, there is no separation. Christian nationalism is white Christian nationalism. Listen to this dangerous rhetoric from a hateful demagogue.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo and build on just for a moment what Dave said. A lot of people, I have had this conversation so many times, it just makes me blue in the face. But people will say, what is the right? You know, what is it? The right is two things. It is Christian nationalism and white nationalism. Blending those two things together is the project that we are engaged upon right now. Those two things equal America. And Dave's exactly right. Without the Great Awakenings, and we had multiple Great Awakenings, we would have no nation. So what he's talking about, working through church groups and so forth. One other thing, what can you do if you are listening to this? 3 things.
I stopped it there on purpose. They're not just evangelizing. They are trying to mobilize viewers into their cult, into the belief that you need to organize, you need to activate, you need to become an activist to put forward what he's saying, that the right is two things, and we need to merge white Christian nationalism and Christian nationalism. And blending those two things together is the project that we are engaged in right now. They are emboldened, they are set to a mission, and they will accomplish it unless we all stand up against it. That's just plainly stated, that's the situation that we are currently faced with. That Donald Trump has emboldened them from the day he slid down the greasy escalator in New York City at Trump Tower. He has animated these people. From the moment he talked about Mexicans being rapists and drug dealers, to the Muslim ban, everything he has done to defending Nazis in Charlottesville. By the way, Dave Reilly defended that on the radio before he lost his job. These people are here to make it happen. And if you're not here to put up a fight, where are we? Anyway, I would appreciate your opinion. If you're from Idaho, you have a lot of work ahead of you to beat back the advances of this pernicious, dangerous, hateful ideology and the people who plan to implement it and inflict it upon the country. Because I can tell you, the right is white Christian nationalism and Christian nationalism. It is. Whether or not Donald Trump has any idea about the nuances of their ideology, he has put people in place, or wants to put people in place, Pete Hegseth and others, who absolutely are religious zealots, dangerous bigots, who adhere to ideologies absolutely mimicking or adjacent to white Christian nationalism. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I want to hear from you. You can comment below. That'll help the algorithm or help YouTube to use the mysterious algorithm to share this content with possible new viewers, and that would be great. I would appreciate it. If you want to help support this work, help me spread this word, You can click the join button below for $2 a month, become a channel member, or go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I love and appreciate you very much. Thanks for your engagement, your passion for making the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.